Jr. is heading to trial. Last month, he was named in a 43-county federal indictment, and this afternoon, he pleaded not guilty during his arraignment. Prosecutors accuse Henley of running a criminal enterprise involving murder, human trafficking, robbery, and extortion. They also say Henley, known as Big U, has ties to the notorious Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips street gang. His trial is scheduled for May 20th.
Big U's criminal enterprise is collapsing. The Los Angeles figurehead has officially surrendered to federal authorities to face serious murder and RICO charges, yet not before making startling accusations about who allegedly betrayed him. From NBA stars reportedly losing fortunes in manipulated dice games to allegations of nonprofit funds quietly funneled into private accounts, the unraveling of one of hip-hop's most influential street figures has begun.
So this is going to probably be my last video. I'm going to go turn myself in to see what's going on. They talking about I'm a fugitive. So they just raided all my houses. 600 was actually with the police when they raided my house. He's actually got video and footage of it. So y'all know what y'all dealing with.
Eugene Henley Jr., widely known as Big U, turned himself in following a sweeping RICO indictment. Before doing so, he posted one final message on Instagram while en route to federal custody. In the video, Big U claimed that 600 was present with law enforcement during a key raid, signaling what he suggested was betrayal. He also named Wack 100 and Loose Cannon, accusing them of participating in the setup and using online platforms to help build the federal case against him. That video quickly circulated online, intensifying speculation about internal conflicts. Big U pointed fingers not only at individuals, but at the online community as well, stating that shares, likes, and digital engagement helped federal agents piece the case together. He also questioned the legitimacy of the charges, claiming many individuals listed in the indictment had no direct connection to him. According to Big U, prosecutors were artificially stacking charges by listing unrelated names beside his associates to increase pressure and attempt to flip them as witnesses.
What you mean? How did they know? How did they know? How did they know they was gonna raid my house? How did they know? Oh, use the goofy. How did they know? How did they know? How the you didn't know?
This marked only the beginning of what could become one of the most explosive federal trials involving hip-hop figures in recent history. Big U made one thing clear before surrendering. He wasn't cooperating, and he had no fear calling out who he believed set him up. With cameras rolling and the internet buzzing, Big U's final words weren't quiet ones. He claimed that everything he had built for the community was disregarded the moment it came time to indict. Then, on his own terms, he walked into federal custody. Shortly after his surrender, details surrounding the case emerged at full speed. Federal agents filed a sweeping list of charges: murder, human trafficking, extortion, and more. While Big U hasn't commented on the specific allegations, he has firmly maintained his innocence. "I did nothing wrong," he stated, vowing to fight the charges. But the indictment tells a very different story. Federal prosecutors are framing this as a large-scale criminal enterprise, allegedly orchestrated by Big U and tied to the notorious Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips. According to them, Big U operated the structure like a crime syndicate, leveraging his street credibility, industry ties, and intimidation to move power and money through Los Angeles for over a decade. He now faces charges under the RICO Act, the same statute used to take down organized crime families. Under RICO, individual crimes are treated as parts of a coordinated operation, and that's exactly how prosecutors are painting this case. The charges include murder, fraud, extortion, and trafficking, all under the banner of what the FBI is calling a structured criminal network.
Well, ain't no turn against me. I ain't going for that. You might as well go get 600.
Codenamed Operation Drawdown, this effort led to the arrest of 10 additional individuals connected to the case. Some were already behind bars, while others, like Brian Makia, voluntarily turned themselves in after the indictments dropped. Authorities also apprehended Sylvester Robinson, known as They, and Mark Martin, also known as Bear Claw, both charged on March 19, 2025, in connection with Big U. Court documents describe the Big U enterprise as an organized group, independent of but closely tied to the Rollin 60s. Prosecutors allege the group operated like a mafia, using intimidation, exploitation, and illicit business practices to sustain its control. The list of crimes includes murder, robbery, fraud, human trafficking, and illegal gambling, with accusations dating back to 2010. The deeper the case goes, the darker and more complex it appears. Prosecutors are beginning to unravel the alleged infrastructure that allowed the operation to function in plain sight for years. In the 2021 killing of a young rapper signed to his own label, Unique Music, federal investigators believe they uncovered something far darker than a music dispute. Court records identify the victim only as RW, a rising artist with industry dreams. But what happened next sent shockwaves through both the streets and the studios.
It seemed to me like I've been threatening the paperwork. I ain't said nothing.
According to prosecutors, RW recorded a diss track that directly targeted Big U. They claim the lyrics cut too deep, hitting nerves that couldn't be ignored. What followed, they allege, was calculated retaliation. Prosecutors say Big U personally drove with RW into the Nevada desert, where the rapper's body was later found dumped off Interstate 15. The discovery stunned the community and escalated federal interest in the ongoing case. Authorities contend this wasn't just about personal pride, it was about business. They believe Big U was running a tightly controlled organization, comparable to a mafia, where public image and internal discipline were both strategically maintained. Prosecutors allege that Big U's influence stretched far beyond neighborhood corners. They say his reach extended deep into studios, offices, and industry boardrooms across Los Angeles. The U.S. Attorney's Office revealed that the enterprise used both physical intimidation and modern media to exert its power. Violence was only one part of the playbook. The rest involved social capital, strategically leveraging documentaries, podcasts, interviews, and social platforms to shape a public image that seemed larger than life. Prosecutors argue that this media presence was more than branding, it was a warning. The message being sent was clear. Big U was a figure too deeply embedded to challenge. His reputation as an OG, or original gangster, served dual purposes, gaining fame while reinforcing fear. They say every camera appearance, podcast feature, and charitable headline was part of a long game, designed to mask what was really happening behind closed doors. It wasn't just a criminal operation, it was a carefully built empire of silence, influence, and intimidation, operating under the guise of legitimacy. With the murder of RW now linked to this broader federal case, the prosecutors are laying out a chilling framework, where fame became the front and fear ensured control. Federal prosecutors claim every public move made by Big U had one purpose: build his image, weaponize fear, and protect the enterprise. At the center of this alleged empire lies a disturbing money trail. The complaint outlines how Big U allegedly redirected donations meant for his nonprofit, Developing Options, directly into his personal bank accounts. These funds weren't small-time donations. They came from celebrities, Fortune 500 companies, and NBA stars, people who believed they were supporting youth intervention programs. The nonprofit, officially supported by the City of Los Angeles, operates through the Mayor's Gang Reduction and Youth Development Foundation, which receives federal funding. That means taxpayer dollars may have been funneled directly into an alleged criminal operation. But the financial misconduct didn't stop there. Prosecutors say Big U also filed false pandemic relief applications for his record label, Unique Music. On paper, it appeared the business turned a $200,000 profit in 2019. In reality, the company posted a loss of around $5,000. That loss should have disqualified the business from receiving federal aid, yet the funds were approved and distributed. Prosecutors are also using Big U's criminal history to build their case. In the early 1990s, he served 13 years for attempting to rob an undercover deputy for cocaine, a conviction that, while old, is now being referenced to demonstrate a consistent pattern of criminal behavior spanning decades. Acting U.S. Attorney Joseph McNally declared that the complaint unsealed today exposes a violent and calculated operation involving murder, fraud, human trafficking, and extortion. The FBI's Al Davis confirmed this is just one part of a larger federal strategy to dismantle street-level organized crime and restore order in Los Angeles neighborhoods. So far, 10 individuals tied to the indictment have been taken into custody. 4 were already incarcerated. 5 remain fugitives and are currently being pursued by federal authorities. If convicted, Big U could face life in prison without the possibility of parole. Just when it seemed the allegations couldn't grow any darker, the feds introduced another piece of evidence: real audio. In court documents, federal agents referenced a recording they say features Big U discussing a confrontation with Wack 100, an industry figure with whom tensions have long simmered. The audio allegedly captures Big U recounting an attempted ambush. He's heard describing a group of 15 to 20 men, hoods up, dressed in black, chasing Wack 100. The scene escalates with a woman screaming and Wack pleading for the safety of his wife and kids. The transcript reportedly includes Wack shouting Big U's government name, "I see you, Eugene Henley," before frantically driving off with his family in the car. Now, Wack 100 is hitting back. Right after Big U turned himself in, Wack 100 jumped on Clubhouse to clear the air. He insisted that the situation had absolutely nothing to do with him. Wack flat out denied ever leaking court documents or feeding any information to federal agents. He brushed off Big U's claims as nothing more than internet gossip, made to shift blame and distract from the facts. Wack even mocked Big U for being surprised that the feds raided his properties. In Wack's view, the writing had been on the wall for years. He suggested that Big U had simply refused to accept that his past was catching up. The walls had been closing in for some time, and now there was nowhere left to run. While Wack was talking online, Big U was already in a federal holding cell. A judge had ruled that he must remain in custody. No bail, no ankle monitor, no chance at house arrest. The court declared him both a flight risk and a danger to the public. His detention hearing was scheduled in downtown Los Angeles for March 31st. His arraignment was locked in for April 8th. No plea was entered yet, just the long list of charges read aloud in court. As things intensified inside the courtroom, the internet did what it does best, stirred the pot. While Big U sat behind bars, a sports media account called ML Football dragged his son into the chaos. The post read, "Trending. Eugene Big U. Henley, a former Crips leader turned interventionist, is now facing serious charges of murder, kidnapping, robbery, and fraud. He's also the father of Chargers linebacker Dion Henley." There were no allegations against Dion, no charges, no connections, nothing linking him to any part of the investigation. But that didn't stop the post from using his name to boost engagement. The response from fans was immediate and firm. One person commented, "Dion Henley seems like a great dude and a solid teammate. He doesn't deserve this." Another added, "What does Dion have to do with any of this? Let him focus on football." A third fan wrote, "Dude is tough as nails. A guided missile on the field. He shouldn't be dragged into this drama." No one's downplaying the gravity of the charges Big U faces. But linking his son to a federal RICO case without reason? That's internet clout chasing at its worst. Dion Henley remains focused on his NFL career and is earning high respect among teammates and coaches alike. As for Big U, if convicted, he could be spending the rest of his life behind bars. To understand how things spiraled to this point, it's necessary to revisit his long history with the law. Before the podcasts, before the interviews, before the spotlight, Eugene Big U Henley was already making headlines for reasons far removed from activism or music. In 1991, he was arrested during a large-scale cocaine sting. This wasn't a low-level drug deal. Authorities say he attempted to rob an undercover sheriff's deputy during the operation. That one decision landed him 13 years in California State Prison. But instead of disappearing from view, his time inside only elevated his name in the streets. Big U once stood for reform, a voice for peace through the American Foundation started by NFL legend Jim Brown. He worked in the Charge program, where he taught gang members to step away from violence and take back control of their lives. He gave speeches about redemption. He mentored youth in high-risk neighborhoods. But none of that stopped the realities of street politics from catching up with him. One specific incident made that truth crystal clear. According to multiple reports, a serious parking lot dispute broke out between Big U, Nipsey Hussle, and Black Sam outside the Marathon clothing store. At the heart of the conflict was control over land tied to Nipsey's brand. Witnesses say Big U tried to seize influence over that property, but Sam refused to give up. What began as an argument nearly escalated into a full-blown physical confrontation. There was deep history here. Big U helped Nipsey in his early career, offering studio support and local protection. But as Nipsey's star rose, so did his desire for independence. He wanted to manage his legacy and protect his block without external control. He believed ownership belonged to him and his family, no one else. After Nipsey's tragic death, Big U kept quiet. He barely addressed the public. But even in silence, his name still carried weight across Los Angeles. Wiz Khalifa once referred to him as rap's godfather, not for the music, but for his reach, influence, and control. For years, Big U played a powerful role in LA hip-hop. Artists knew they had to check in or face serious consequences. Whether it was protection, support, or just staying on the right side of things, Big U had the final say. Now, that same man, once praised by youth advocates, backed by city leaders, and feared in street circles, sits behind bars, awaiting trial on federal RICO charges. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss future uploads. Check out the related content now playing on your screen.